Welcome to our today's Big League soccer match prediction event. And on this Big League event, we have a total of 8 games to share with you from the Europa League, Champions League, and Conference League. A total of 8 games handpicked, which, of course, in this list, we are going to back it up with some stats and analytics to help you make your picks in the list to boost your winning by a greater percent. And to those of you who want to have access to even more games, then of course you want to make sure to join the Level 2 Pro plan to start to have access to all our game prediction picks which we share to members only to take your winning to the next level. To those of you who want to join, the link is below this video description. You can click, navigate and join as a member of Level 2 Pro plan to start to have access to all game predictions, especially our big league event and also our top 10 or top 15 game prediction based on 1.5 and 2.5 goal match picks, as well as corner kick events with huge odds to take your winning to the next height. To join, the link is below this video. So these matches are going to run 3 days from Thursday till Sunday. That is Thursday the 19th till Sunday the 22nd. So this will run on leagues like Champions League, that is Europa League, and also Conference League. Without wasting time, let's begin with the first game of today's list. Looking at the first event, we are looking at Champions League, a match between Atalanta against Tom Grace. This is going to take place on the 21, and of course, looking on the 21, which is Saturday, I think, and looking at the recent game performance of Atalanta, you're going to see that they are very, very offensive. They've had games, especially as you can see here, in the Champions League against Real Madrid, which is also a very tough team. They scored 2 goals, and against Young Boys, also in the Champions League, where they beat Young Boys by 6 goals to 1. The offensive power of Atalanta in the Serie A of Italy is very tough, comparing to its opponent to that of the away team, which you can see they have matches mostly in the Austria Bundesliga, comparing the form of the away team in the Austria Bundesliga as well as game they have had recently in the Champions League against teams like Lille, where they had 3-2. Every comparison being made, of course, Atalanta proved to be of better stance. Comparing the performance of these two in terms of recent events they have had, we want to look at the performance of Atalanta based on the events they have had for this particular tournament, and you're going to see that Atalanta has been placed right on the 30th position. But of course, the performance of Storm Grace based on the away team proved that Storm Grace, based on its away performance, proved that Storm Grace not have a good defense. They are very weak in defense, but as well as Atalanta instead tend to perform so greatly in the away, having played 3 games, scoring 11 goals and conceding 1. The offense is very high in terms of away, but of course, looking at home, its home performance have proved that they have had also just 3 games at home. Looking at this, we want to look at 2 major picks in this event in full time. For this particular event, of course, Atalanta is a very offensive team, despite the fact that the performance based on at home games have proved that the offense is not great. But looking at its form based on the league which it has had in the Serie A of Italy, its performance is at top notch. Whereas that of its opponent, on the other hand, have proved that the defensive power of the away team is very weak based on the defensive line. And since Atalanta have proved to be very offensive based on recent event gameplay they have had, especially in the Serie A of Italy, this particular form will be brought here. And being a very high offensive team and defensive team, we are looking at Atalanta to take that advantage of the weak defense of the away Storm Grace to lead in full time as one of the major picks in this event in full time, or to give it a double chance. These are our 2 major picks for this particular event. Looking at the next, we'll look at still the Champions League, this time Liverpool against Lille. The performance of Liverpool, based on recent events they've had, proved that they have a very great form and they have maintained a steady form, especially in the Premier League of England. They've also had games in the Champions League against Girona, where they had a lead, and also against Real Madrid, which is also a very tough team, and they beat it by 2-0. Its opponent, on the other hand, Lille, of course, its performance also proved to be good in the Ligue 1 of France. But looking at matches they have had in the Champions League, especially against Bologna, where they had a lead 3, that is they had a lead 2-1, and also against Tom Grace, where they had a lead by 3-2. Looking at the performance of these two in terms of stand by the recent game played, of course, the home team, Liverpool, based on home game, proved that its offense based on home game played proved to be on a good stand. And looking at its performance comparison by home as that of Lille based on away, we're going to see that Liverpool, which is the home, sits here right. Let's try to scroll on the third position. They have proved to be very, very offensive. They've had 3 games, all the 3 wins, scoring 8 goals and conceding no goals. They are very good at offense and very good at defense. But that of Lille, on the other hand, which is the away based on recent game they have had for this tournament, you're going to see that Lille sit right here based on the position here. Its classification is right on the 10th position. The defensive line is not very tight and the offense is average. And looking here at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks in full time. For this particular event, of course, Liverpool, the home, have proved to be very offensive, especially based on recent event they have had. Its recent performance also in its own league, that is in the Premier League of England, have proved that Liverpool is very good. Now, looking at the offensive lineup of this particular tournament in terms of recent gameplay they have had at home, Liverpool proved to be very offensive and also very defensive. But the defensive line of the away team is not very tough. We therefore want to look at Liverpool to take that advantage to lead this game in full time as one of the major pick, as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. These are our 2 major picks for this particular event. That is Liverpool to lead, as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal to occur in this game in full time. Looking here, the next, we looked in the Champions League still, but this time AC Milan against Girino. For this particular game played, AC Milan in the Serie A of Italy have proved to be a very offensive team, and they've had games also in the Champions League, as you can see, against Slovan Bratislava, where they lead by 3-2. They also had a game with Krevna Zvezda having a straight lead, but that of Girino, on the other hand, have had games against Liverpool where they record a loss, and the performance in the La Liga have proved not to be very offensive as compared to Milan. Looking at the recent game played performance in terms of comparison by stands, AC Milan, which is the home based on home game played, have proved that here AC Milan sits on the 17th position. The offensive line is good and the defense is average. Comparing that of Girino based on the way game played, based on recent game performance they have had, you're going to see that Girino sits right here on the 33rd position. The defensive line of Girino is very weak. They have conceded 6 goals out of 3 event played to tell us that the defensive line of Girino is not good, but that of AC Milan, based on the game they have had based on home event, have proved to be very offensive. And looking here at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks in this event in full time. For this particular event, AC Milan, the home team, have proved to be a very good team based in terms of offense, and the defensive line of the away shows to be very weak. And the recent performance of AC Milan, the home team based on its own league, have proved that they are very offensive and great offensive team. And looking at the fact that its opponent based on the way game played have proved not to have a very tough defense, we want to look at AC Milan, the home, to take advantage of that weak defense of its opponent to lead in full time as one of the major pick, as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. That is, we look at 2 major picks, AC Milan to lead, and as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal or 2 goals over in this event in full time. Looking at the next event pick, we look at Real Madrid against Salzburg. For this event, the performance of Real Madrid, based on recent events they have proved to be a very offensive lineup. Its opponent, on the other hand, have proved that they do concede as much and they do also offend. But that of the away has mostly had games. They are from the Bundesliga of Austria. But Real Madrid, the home, is from La Liga, and of course, they are more offensive. Comparing the recent game played, Real Madrid, based on the home game events in terms of games they have had for this tournament, Real Madrid sit here on the 14th position with a very great offensive lineup and the defense being average. Salzburg, its opponent, on the other hand, have proved that the defense, based on the away game played, have proved that Salzburg do not maintain a good defense. The defensive line is weak and the offense is just average. And looking here at everything in place, we are looking at 2 major picks in this event in full time. For this particular event, Real Madrid have proved to be very offensive. Also in the La Liga, they have a very good performance. The recent gameplay of Real Madrid for this tournament based on home gameplay have proved to be very high offense. And since the defensive line of its opponent is not that very tight and tough, of course, we look at Real Madrid to take that advantage to lead in full time as one of the major picks. And we also look at the possibility of at least 1.5 goals or 2.5 goals to occur in this match in full time. And to those of you who want to have even more games, for we had a total of 8 plus games which we have handpicked to share with you. And to those of you who want to have access to more games, the remaining part of it, of course, we are going to share this to members only. You want to make sure that you join the Level 2 Pro plan to start to have access to all our game match prediction picks, especially big league events like Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and of course, with huge odds to take your winning to the next level. For you to join, we are going to put the link below this video so that you can click, navigate, and join as a member of the Level 2 Pro plan and start to have access to all our game picks. And the remaining part of this game, which we have shared, will also be access. And based also on upcoming event, which we have prepared, you're also going to have full access to all our game predictions, which we share to members only. Good luck and see you again in the next upload. And bye-bye for now.